The site of North America's oldest street race, Trois Rivieres, Quebec, is home to legendary races and drivers. This week, it's the site of the Players Limited GM Motorsports Series. Kenny Wilden has accumulated 5 wins in a row and will have to battle veteran Richard SPENARD. Young star Peter Cohen. And the new stars like Jeff LAPCEVICH and Sean GROSMAN, who are hungry to defeat the Giants. This is the Players Limited GM Motorsports Series on TSN.
Welcome to Trois Rivieres, Quebec. Hello everyone, I'm Pierre Houd, and today we are going to see some exciting action in North America's oldest street circuit. So, to know more about today's race, here is once again Jim Paulson and Pat Gonzalez. Gentlemen.
Welcome to Trois Rivieres, Quebec, and round number 6 of the Players Limited GM Motorsports Series. We've had 5 Eastern races so far, but only 1 winner. Jim, Kenny Wilden is truly having a dream season.
You know, in the many years that we've followed this series, Pat, I guess we have not seen this sort of domination in ages. Well, okay, Richard SPENARD had 1 good year there, but Kenny Wilden has literally sort of come out of nowhere and has truly dominated this year.
Well, despite Kenny Wilden's domination, this championship is far from over. Drivers like LAPCEVICH and GROSMAN showed their speed at Cayuga. And Jim, what about Peter Cohen?
Well, here we're talking a Quebec native, of course, Pat. He had a great run in Montreal earlier. I would think that if anyone is most determined to be a giant killer here, it's got to be Peter Cohen.
Well, no doubt about it. There's several drivers gunning for Kenny Wilden. He, of course, is undefeated this season, as we've said. He's also the defending champion here at Trois Rivieres. And to nobody's surprise, he was also the fastest man in qualifying. Can he be beat? Well, there's certainly several drivers capable of ending his winning string here at Trois Rivieres. Now let's take a look at the starting grid.
Starting in 17th spot, a rookie, Paul MACKIE. Paul's really started to learn these cars and these circuits. We expect him to move up today.
Series regular Ron Schell from Edwards, Ontario, in his Poplar Grove Camaro starts from 16.
Beside Ron stands Steve WINCH in his Bell Cellular Camaro. Steve looking for a good performance on this difficult street circuit.
In only his 2nd drive in the Players Limited GM Motorsports Series, Robert STEIN has impressed here, starting in 14th position.
Locked in a Rookie of the Year battle, young Shane GROSMAN really helped the entire SMG racing team with his strong performances.
Paul Duckworth in the Sony entry with a top 10 performance on the oval at Cayuga. He's looking for a top 5 here today.
Sean GROSMAN started his Camaro in the front row in Cayuga. He's ready to fire off in Trois Rivieres.
Quebec native Jacques LELIEVRE brings experience and fan support to this event. He could surprise some drivers.
Quebec radio and TV personality Didier, another of the French connection. He's ready.
Jeff LAPCEVICH, after his 2nd place effort on the Cayuga Oval, may very well be ready for a win here.
Norman Boyer, the Saint-Agathe, Quebec native, has lots of time on the circuit. He'll start 7th.
Our Sunoco fastest qualifier sitting in the 6th spot is Kenny Wilden. He and SPENARD battle in Toronto. He will certainly face tough competition here today.
Priority-wise, the first thing to do is to win the championship. If that means in this race that I have to back off and stay out of some potentially dangerous situations, I'll do that. And if we have to finish, 2nd, 3rd, or 4th, that's fine with me. Our goal is to finish the next 3 races, the last 3, in a respectable place, not damage the car. And if we do well here and in Vancouver, then we should have the championship wrapped up.
Peter Cohen is fast again in Quebec. The Montreal native loves street circuits and loves Quebec.
I want to be the giant killer. The giant killer with a very low budget team. That's who I want to be.
John CADMAN has done well on street circuits and still has a chance of catching Kenny in the point standings.
Well, I like to think so. It's hard to say. There's 5 guys out here that are capable of beating Kenny, and I think Kenny and I have had more firsts and seconds than anybody else in the series, so I hope I'm the guy that can beat him. Somebody's got to stop the streak, and I'd like to be the one to do it.
Richard SPENARD has been Kenny's main opponent this season, and Richard wants to be the one to beat him here.
It means a lot. It means a lot simply because no one has been able to beat him this year. But more than that, I'd be more satisfied to know why he's quicker, you know. Driving-wise, I didn't lose my confidence. I know that I still can outdrive most of the guys here on any given day, or at least drive with them. No one is a Superman, and I still don't believe Kenny is this year.
Terry Bett starts on the front row and could give Sunoco their first victory this season.
Well, from my perspective, there's no sense in defeat. Kenny's on a roll and been doing a good job. Not to take away anything from him at all. He's had a few good breaks, but he's also been very quick. But he's not that much more quick. We're only talking 2 tenths, 1 tenth, 3 tenths, that kind of thing. And it's there. It's just up to us to work a little harder to find it.
Terry's teammate and the defending champion Rob Fellows starts beside him in the front row.
I see Kenny taking advantage of, you know, some situations that helped him out too, and he's been fast in qualifying, which is what we did last year when we won the championship. So frustrating more than anything else.
The Sunoco team up on the front row seeking their first victory this season. They're hungry.
And so are all of the other drivers in the field here at Trois Rivieres as we get set to do battle Kenny Wilden. 5 wins in a row. Will any of these drivers be able to end that winning streak here at Trois Rivieres? Does Kenny look worried? Not a bit.
The Pontiac GTP pace car is ready to lead this field out today at Trois Rivieres. The Players Limited GM Motorsports Series is brought to you by Players Limited and GM Motorsports. Back to TSN's coverage of the Players Limited GM Motorsports Series today from Trois Rivieres, Quebec. It's the 6th round as the field move away, Pat.
A good-looking field here. Of course, these street circuits can be very, very unpredictable, very unforgiving racetracks. One little mistake out there and you'll be into the concrete retaining wall. There we see the last of the cars pulling off the grid as they work their way around this racetrack. And up front, the 2 Sunoco Ultra 94 cars.
And season point standings up to this stage, Pat. Kenny Wilden out front, 538. Cadman not far away at 467. Then Spenard right behind at 436. Rob Fellows, 398 points. Needs some today. Now, let's have a look at this track at Trois Rivieres, Quebec. What history behind it all? Let's have a look around the entire circuit. Pat?
Well, it measures 2.4 kilometers around. The start-finish line is located on the Gilles Villeneuve Avenue, where the cars will hit 150 kilometers an hour before slowing for turn 1. They'll go from 4th to 3rd gear and carry 3rd gear all the way along Rue Grand Prix. Then they go under the bridge through turn number 2, a tight little left-hander, then along another short straightaway, and now they move under the Duplessis Arch and prepare to move up to the fastest section of this racetrack. Very critical to exit out of that 3rd turn and carry your speed all the way along this long run. There are actually 2 corners counted there, which are no more than slight bends in Boulevard du Carmel. And now they go from 4th all the way down to 2nd gear, one of the longest braking portions on this racetrack, and a good spot to try to negotiate a pass. Then out onto Rue de Cologne, another fast section of the racetrack, perhaps 150 kilometers an hour, up to 4th gear, and then again another slight kink in the pavement. That counts as corner number 7, and then downshift to 3rd gear for Depailler corner. Then another short straightaway on Rue Papineau, under the Ryan Bridge, and through this very tight left-hander at Ryan Corner. It's a virtual hairpin, and then up out of there in 2nd gear to Villeneuve Corner 10 that brings them back onto the start-finish straightaway. And in these cars, they'll be completing a lap in about 1 minute and 20 seconds. A very challenging and difficult racetrack facing these drivers.
Kenny Wilden may be the reigning champion, but one driver with a lot of experience on this circuit is Richard Spenard, and he's got this week's driver's line.
As soon as I have a chance to go up front, I'll take it. Mainly because it's hard to pass here. So, and that's one of the good reasons why I didn't want to start, you know, on the 3rd row, because by the time you pass the 2nd row, the guy who started 1st, he's probably going to be, you know, long gone. So, being on the 2nd row, you have a chance to follow the front row and have a chance to pass him soon in the race and hopefully pull away. but it's definitely a place where it's going to be hard to pass.
So Richard's thought, Pat, is that passing will pose the greatest problem for the drivers here. We're about to find out.
They roll out of Gilles Villeneuve corner onto the pit straightaway, and there's the green flag. We're racing at Trois Rivieres. The charge to turn one. They go 3 wide, and it is Rob Fellows who will lead them through that first turn. Betts on the outside and contact there in turn 1 as they try to fit about 3-4 cars wide through that first turn. Couldn't do it. Under the Players Bridge and through turn number 2. The drivers just trying to settle into some kind of a running order, and look at the lead that Rob Fellows has opened up as they move under the Duplessis Arch and up onto the long straightaway section. Now
already an incident here, Pat. We've got number 29, Sean Grossman, and look at 91, Robert Stein, running only his second race. Robert manages to get restarted, backs it up. He's back into the battle as we get back to our front runners, but I think Grossman is going to be stuck there for a while. Now the leaders again, Pat.
Through turn number 6, it's still Rob Fellows out in front, but he's got a freight train of cars sitting behind him as they work their way down the long straightaway section here. There is the battle going on for the second place position, and that involves Terry Betts in a number 2 car, SPENARD 42, along with 17, Kenny Wilden, and number 71, John Cadman Jr. Through the Ryan hairpin, they're about to come around here to complete lap 1. You can see the car still very tightly bunched.
Oh, it's a hurricane up front there, Pat, but we go back to Sean Grossman. We see Sean now just getting over the tire wall. He's getting out of harm's way. Through the fence he goes. He'll be all right, then that car will tow away. Let's get back to this race out front. It is crazy.
Rob Fellows up across start-finish. SPENARD just smoking the tires, hard braking into turn 1 as he tries to close up on Terry Betts. Waved yellow caution flag here at turn 2 as the drivers get around the Sean Grossman incident. That car still up into the tire walls. There is Rob Fellows under the Duplessis Arch, and now out onto the Carmel Boulevard, the long straightaway section here. Fellows your leader, then it is Betts in second. SPENARD in that black Motormaster car runs in third, but now he'll pull up alongside of Betts. Richard SPENARD looking for the second place position as they come off of the straightaway into turn 6. SPENARD will go through into the second place spot. Oh, and Cadman through into third. Betts got pushed out to the outside. Wilden will move up to fourth. Betts drops all the way back to 5th. Ferocious action at the end of that straightaway.
Terry, you got caught on the outside there. It really was Terry Betts' error. The Sunoco team were looking so hot off the top. We go in car here with John Cadman to get a look at how he may attack his team leader. He's right up on Richard SPENARD now, and looks like Cadman wants to make a move, gets in tight.
Out of the Ryan hairpin, it is still Rob Fellows, your leader. Richard SPENARD in second. John Cadman, as we ride with him, he runs in the third place position. There they go by those cones to the left side. The drivers are not allowed to hit those cones. They will get a penalty if they do that as they exit out of what is really turn 10A, just a little bit of a kink to the left to bring them on to the Gilles Villeneuve Avenue. That is the start-finish straightaway. Now they work down into turn 2. Still riding here with John Cadman. You can see just how difficult this racetrack is. This is actually a downhill run under the Duplessis Arch, and now out onto the Boulevard du Carmel, the fastest section of the racetrack. And again, they're up in about 4th gear at 180 kilometers in these cars. And where we saw the pass on the previous lap, the cars are going from about 180 in 4th gear all the way down to 2nd gear here at about 70 or 80 kilometers an hour. So they're really scrubbing off a lot of speed. There's John Cadman in the 3rd place position. Wilden still running in the 4th place spot, and Betts is 5th.
Rob Fellows with truly his most amazing start of the year. Now, the super teams may have had a problem with setup and everything up to this point at Trois Rivieres, but suddenly it's the super teams dominating. The Sunoco 94 group, of course, out front for McKenzie Financial, and the Motormaster gang in here. Mind you, Kenny Wilden still very much a factor here in number 17, the red car, Pat.
While we're looking at a couple of great battles up front in this lead pack, there is the race for third between Cadman 71 in the black Motormaster car and Kenny Wilden in that red 17 Pringle Slick 50 Camaro. And now SPENARD trying to close up here on Rob Fellows, and he has made up quite a bit of ground over the last couple of laps. They go through. There is Betts still holding on to the 5th place position. Right behind him, Norman Boye. They still have not removed. They're just about to get the Sean Grossman Embassy Suites Camaro out of that turn 2 area. Again, out onto the long straightaway section here on Boulevard du Carmel. Rob Fellows in that yellow number 1 Sunoco Ultra 94 McKenzie Financial car leading. then SPENARD and CADMAN in the black Motormaster Camaros, and then the man who heads the point standings, Kenny Wilden, who's had that marvelous run, 5 for 5, including his last win that came at the Oval at Cayuga Speedway. Wilden won this race a year ago, but right now he sits back in the 4th place position. And now that front-running group really starting to tighten up, Jim, as Fellows has been reeled in by the 2 Motormaster cars of SPENARD and CADMAN, along with Kenny Wilden.
Kenny Wilden wants to make it a record. He'd love to get that 6th victory here at Trois Rivieres to top Richard SPENARD's record from the past. They're both tied at 5 wins each, but if anyone looks like a race winner here today, it's the man in front here, Rob Fellows, our reigning champion again. A good 3-4 car lengths now. CADMAN has to go. It's SPENARD for second.
John CADMAN taking a look as the 2 cars go side by side. CADMAN up to the outside of SPENARD, and Richard trying to hold him off, the 2 Motormaster teammates, and CADMAN has gone through in a second. Beautiful pass there by John CADMAN as he now moves up to second, SPENARD third. Kenny Wilden runs in the 4th place spot. There's a little bit of a gap on the racetrack. Back to another ferocious 4-way fight going on for what is the 5th place spot. That involves Terry Betts, Peter Cohen, Norman Boye, and Jeff LAPCEVICH as we look at the lead group off the end of Boulevard du Carmel. There goes Wilden on the inside looking for the 3rd place spot on SPENARD, and he'll get it. Kenny Wilden takes over the 3rd place position, and now we ride along with the new 3rd place driver, Kenny Wilden, who's had really a storybook season so far and has really elevated his driving from what we saw in the series of a year ago. SPENARD trying to keep it close. There is 17, Kenny Wilden, SPENARD right with him, and now that 2nd group appears to be actually catching the group ahead of them on the racetrack. There's Rob Fellows by about 10, maybe 12 car lengths. Then it is CADMAN 71, 17, Kenny Wilden in the red car runs 3rd, SPENARD in the 2nd of the black Motormaster cars is 4th, then Terry Betts leading that 2nd group that are fighting for the 5th place spot.
Rob Fellows, our reigning champion number 1, is ignoring all this tremendous war for 2nd place, and he is actually gaining from this, Pat. And now Rob Fellows is beginning to put a little distance between himself and this fight for 2nd place overall. Kenny Wilden may have a little problem getting by John CADMAN, and certainly SPENARD has not dropped off the pace here.
Well, that battling that's been going on for that 2nd place position has allowed Rob Fellows, there you can see the margin as they make the run down the Boulevard du Carmel. It's about 2 seconds. And now Wilden, 17, looks as though he is going to try to set up CADMAN for the pass. He takes a look on the inside, a little bit of contact there between the 2 drivers. And now Wilden pulls up alongside. There goes SPENARD. He'll follow his teammate. And they're 3 wide on the straightaway as they head through turn 7. SPENARD and CADMAN, and Wilden, I think, will get the worst of that as he got shuffled back. Here comes SPENARD looking for the 3rd place spot. No, Wilden holds on. Kenny drifts wide, and SPENARD will move through on the inside to take over that 3rd place position. There is Richard SPENARD up in a 3rd as they come out of the Ryan hairpin.
Oh, Terry Betts gets a little crunched up here as well. And Peter Cohen is a part of the fray. Everyone wants to grab this 2nd, 3rd, or 4th spot, and they are really fighting for it at this stage. Meanwhile, again, our race leader, Rob Fellows, begins and carries on running away.
Well, that was number 50, Norman Boye, who was trading paint with Terry Betts. There is the 2nd and 3rd place cars. There's Betts, followed by Cohen now, who has moved up into the 6th place position. Norman Boye getting the worst of that contact. He drops back into 7th, but the action here has been ferocious, particularly in these early laps. Rob Fellows, number 1, continues to lead it. It is John CADMAN Jr. in 2nd.
Oh, hard to believe, only 5 laps are gone. Rob Fellows, the race leader, pretty well in charge. Then John CADMAN, Richard SPENARD continue the fight. We'll be back. Welcome back to the Players Limited GM Motorsports Series on TSN from Trois Rivieres, Quebec. It's a 35-lap run this year, a little longer race, but boy, they did not start off gently here today, Ben.
Well, they have really been hammering on each other all the way through the top 10. Rob Fellows, your leader. Now we look at the race for 2nd between the 2 Motormaster Camaros. John Cadman in car 71 in second. There is a challenge, and yes, on the inside, beautiful pass at the end of the long straightaway as number 46, Peter Cohen, has moved up into that 5th place position. So Cohen may be the fastest driver on the racetrack. There is 17, the current points leader, the man who is undefeated in Players Limited GM Motorsports Series racing this year. Kenny Wilden, SPENARD getting a little bit wide as the driver's using all of the racetrack and then some. SPENARD trying to get around his teammate John Cadman to reestablish himself in that 2nd place position. But meanwhile, Rob Fellows still your leader. Cadman 71 in second, and Fellows continues to open up the advantage. There's 42, your 3rd place driver SPENARD, then Kenny Wilden. A little bit of a gap back to the 46 car, and that is Peter Cohen, your new 5th place driver. Terry Betts runs in 6th, and then it is the 50 car of Normand Boyer running in the 7th place position. But while they continue to fight for this 2nd place position, that is allowing Rob Fellows to get away from this great 3-way fight going on for 2nd.
We thought maybe we were watching a little bit of the old Kenny Wilden here, sitting back in 4th spot. Now look at this, he goes to the inside. I think it is the old Kenny Wilden, a little more daring, taking more chances. Not the same sort of cool, collected, smooth Wilden we've seen up to this stage of the season, Pat.
Well, Kenny's pre-race speech was about being consistent and finishing in the points, but he's going out there and just hammering with SPENARD and Cadman for the 2nd place position. There's Kenny Wilden. He's had the perfect season so far. 5 starts, 5 wins. Again, the fastest man on the clock, as he again was the fastest of the drivers here in qualifying. As we look a little bit further back, Shane Grossman there in the 92 car. Some of the other drivers having their personal battles a little bit further back on the racetrack. Ronnie Schell there in the 14 car. There's one of our top Rookie of the Year contenders, Shane Grossman, in the STP Camaro, the number 92 car, having a pretty good run here with Ronnie Schell.
Interesting to watch how these fights are shaping up all through the pack. So it's not only here up front, because it really has become a little bit of a runaway for, this is the old Rob Fellows we're watching today. I'll tell you, Pat, he's putting in a great run at Trois Rivieres. Maybe the inspiration of his brother being here this weekend, running the Trans Am event.
Well, Rob, of course, is our defending Eastern Series champion, has had a pretty disappointing season so far, and in a lot of cases has been in the wrong place at the wrong time, as evident by what happened at Cayuga. But he has been very, very smooth here all weekend, and right now holds a pretty good advantage over John Cadman, Richard SPENARD, and Kenny Wilden.
Our leader from the start, Rob Fellows. The importance of that start, the focus on this week's Infotech. The most crucial time at any race is the start, and with the equipment not up to full temperature, it can pose great danger, as proven by last year's shootout. Now, what makes the start of the GM race even more challenging is the inversion of the top 6 starters. So the fastest driver starts 6th, and the 6th fastest starts 1st.
For the start, you would like to start first, as I will, but you know, honestly, we were trying to qualify better than that. We were looking for points and some money, but we end up having the best position to start the race. Let's put it this way: I'd rather win the race and qualify first, but yesterday when I qualified, I would have rather to qualify first and make sure everything was working well.
With the series, with the inversion, you know, you go out, you take the chance that when you are quickest, you got five cars to pass before you can get to the front. So that makes it really tough, and it gets tougher every year because the guys just get more and more experience, and to come from the 3rd row like that, it's tough.
Well, as tough as these professional drivers find the start, the key is always safety, and with each spot so valuable, the best drivers usually take the start very cautiously.
The first lap, I think, or the first corner and the start is important in terms of not getting into an accident, keeping your car in one piece and making it through the first corner. That's really all I worry about. And then after we get in a line and get going, you know, there's always opportunities to pass guys and make some good moves, but if they're not there, you've just got to stay in line and stay comfortable with that, not make a mistake.
Well, it was a dust-filled tornado-type start here at Trois Rivieres today, no question, Pat. And that's how the race is going right now as well.
Well, that race for 2nd place continues fast and furious around this street circuit. It is John Cadman holding on a second. His teammate Richard Spenard trying to hold off Kenny Wilden. Wilden parked right behind Spenard as he takes a look on the inside. The drivers heading down through one of the real hard braking sections, and they really do test the brakes on these Camaros from 180 kilometers down to about 80 to get through turn 6. Wilden a little bit of a slide, and Kenny is really pushing the car, trying to stay with Cadman and Spenard. Meanwhile, Rob Fellows has been able to open up a pretty good advantage here of at least a couple of seconds, and Rob Fellows appears to be running a very smooth, controlled pace, really conserving the tires and the brakes on his car. This race for second has been very, very close as they come out of the Ryan hairpin and now into Villeneuve corner to come back onto the start-finish straightaway. There's Kenny Wilden, 5 wins in a row so far this year. And of course, all of these drivers up in the lead group would love to end Kenny Wilden's winning streak here at Trois Rivieres.
Well, the Motormaster team seem to be running a set line, Pat, whereas Kenny Wilden in this event varies his thoughts on that line, it seems, with every corner. Right? Kenny just seems a little more erratic than he has been in the past. And again, I think we'll watch him probably, no, this time he's going to stay to the inside, but he tries to get up close on Spenard once more, pulls in a little tighter, and then he'll sing off to the outside one more time. Oh, no, here he goes to the inside. He'll fool us each time.
Well, Kenny trying different lines down that long run on Boulevard du Carmel. Here is Wilden taking a look on the inside. The 2 drivers touch as they go through turn 6. Spenard gets a little sideways. Kenny Wilden right up alongside of Richard Spenard. They're still running door handle to door handle for 3rd place, and Wilden will just inch ahead. Here comes Spenard batting right back, and again the 2 drivers hammering on each other. Wilden goes through into the 3rd place spot.
Wilden is through. Okay, you know who's gaining on this is the blue car. Keep an eye on Peter Cohen. Oh, look at this. Spenard is by one more time. He edges Kenny over into the dust. And again, Cohen comes right up on Wilden. This is getting to be very interesting. Now it's a trio that are fighting for the spot, man.
Well, Peter Cohen benefiting from the action ahead of him between Spenard and number 17, Kenny Wilden, as they work their way back through turn 1. There you can see just how close it is among those 3 drivers. Cadman going through, and Cadman also opening up a pretty good advantage over his teammate Spenard, along with Kenny Wilden and Peter Cohen. Of course, Cohen has got a lot of people from Montreal cheering him on. He is one of the real talented drivers in this series who maybe has not had the sponsorship backing to really allow him to display his talents, but right now he is right in the thick of a great 3-way fight going on for 3rd as they come through here. Spenard holding on, but just barely to that 3rd place position. Wilden is right there, and Cohen parked right behind Kenny Wilden.
You know, Kenny seems to gain the most, Pat, through that one area, corners 1, 2, and 3. We'll see if that isn't where he is perhaps contemplating a setup on Spenard to try to get by. Richard gets right off the track there. So even Richard now, I think, is beginning to feel the pressure a little bit. Meanwhile, Cohen is sort of following Kenny Wilden's line. He's a little bit erratic in his attack, but obviously he's hungry today. They got a massive crowd, a sellout crowd for this event, Pat. These guys want to put on a good show.
Well, they certainly have so far. Back onto the start-finish straightaway. There's Cadman, Spenard, and then number 17, Kenny Wilden. There, Rob Fellows. You can see he has still about 15, maybe 20 car lengths. Then Cadman running all by himself in second for the moment, and then this great 3-way battle involving Richard Spenard, Kenny Wilden in the red car, and then just a little bit further back, Peter Cohen in that orange and blue car number 46. And Peter Cohen, again, a little bit of a move there by Kenny Wilden as they head down the long run on Boulevard du Carmel. Wilden, tags Spenard in the back. Kenny Wilden running into the back of Spenard. The drivers hammer on each other. Spenard slides into the tire wall. Kenny Wilden, now again, the 2 drivers hammer on each other.
Cohen is by. Cohen goes by in the meantime, Ben.
Peter Cohen up into 3rd. Spenard and Wilden literally running into each other as now they work their way down Rue de Cologne. And there is Spenard. Wilden, I think, has a problem. It looks like he's got a flat right front tire. Here we see on board with Wilden as he tags Spenard a couple of times. Richard goes sideways in turn 6. And yes, there's Kenny Wilden, the flat right front tire. He'll have to come into the pits.
Oh, that's it. With Kenny Wilden making a pit stop bad, there's no question. He will not get a victory here at Trois Rivieres today. You cannot afford a pit stop, not at this tempo. And the people setting the tempo are, of course, Rob Fellows, a reigning champion out front. And now it's a nice run for John Cadman Jr., the Motormaster car, and the work continues frantically with the Wilden pit. A little help, I note, here from the LAPCEVICH crowd as well. Now a replay.
There we see it again. Wilden, I'm not sure if he just went in too deep into the corner. He hit Spenard from the back. Spenard goes sideways into the tire walls, but the impact with the back of Spenard's car evidently made that right front tire flat. They're still working on it in the pits, and he undoubtedly will lose a lap. Kenny Wilden still in the pits. Here's Rob Fellows, your race leader, back up across start finish. Cadman runs in second. Peter Cohen is third.
They are taking a long time along pit road for Kenny Wilden's gang. I would have thought the Pringles crew would be a little more prepared, but it is taking a while. Now, there could have been body work maybe crushed in on that tire as we get back to our race leader, heading back to the Duplessis Arch. What a runaway for the reigning champ for Ultra 94, Rob Fellows. He's been longing for this moment all year, Ben.
Rob Fellows still holding a pretty good advantage over John Cadman, but now it looks as though Cadman is slowly starting to eat into that lead. It was about 20 car lengths. It's now down to about 12. There's Didier SCHRAENEN, number 94. He's having a pretty good run up in the top 10. As Fellows, number 1 through turn 6. That was the spot on the racetrack where Spenard and Wilden got into it. And Cadman is definitely reeling in the leader. Rob Fellows has had a lonely run up front, but I think he's going to have company here very, very shortly as John Cadman continues to reel him in. There you can see both of those drivers using all of the racetrack as they come into the Ryan hairpin. There's Kenny Wilden, number 17. They've changed that right front tire. He's back out onto the racetrack, and right behind Richard Spenard. Now, I'm not sure if this was a planned move by Wilden to get back out there right behind Spenard. So the goings-on between these two may yet continue here at Trois Rivieres.
No, Kenny wouldn't have waited a lap, would he, for Richard to come back around? No, I don't think it would be revenge he would be seeking at this point. The fact is, Kenny, well, we'll find out. Certainly Normand Boyer is just back of them, by the way, so perhaps Normand Boyer could gain a little bit from the fight between these two, although Kenny is a lap down.
Richard Spenard now running in the 4th place position. Kenny Wilden right behind him on the racetrack as we look at the leader. Rob Fellows in that Sunoco Ultra 94 Camaro. There's John Cadman. He is closing on him. Peter Cohen, and now Spenard followed by Kenny Wilden. But again, Wilden not running up here in the top 5. Currently running in 5th is the 50 car of Normand Boyer, who's having another good drive here at Trois Rivieres. Peter Cohen driving the car that Kenny Wilden drove a year ago. There is Wilden. Of course, the marvelous run in the previous 5 events, and Wilden and Spenard getting into it here a few laps ago that put Kenny Wilden into the pits and ended what had been just that marvelous run here in the 1992 Players Limited GM Motorsports Series. The two drivers continue to shadow each other all the way around the racetrack as they come through turn 10A and back onto the start-finish straightaway.
I wonder, with Peter Cohen's success here, if in fact he didn't get some setup advice from the Kenny Wilden Pringles Slick 50 team, because, boy, he's got that car running beautifully here at Trois Rivieres. But again, it's a crowd that he wants to impress in front of, but there's our man, Rob Fellows. Heading toward the halfway point, not far away from him, and he's led all the way back.
While 71, John Cadman is closing as we look at the run through turn 6 and on to Rue de Cologne now. The drivers using every inch of the racetrack. Cadman just inches away from that outside wall as now they move through turn 7 and into 8 through the Paillet corner.
Watching the leaders come up, of course, they've got the hairpin at Ryan corner to deal with right here, and here comes Cohen. Still Rob Fellows very much in control here. It's still in striking distance, John Cadman Jr. Oh, look at this. Kenny Wilden gets by. He makes it by Spenard. He does not attack Richard after all. I guess he's fighting to get a lap back here, Pat. Well, car number 1, our reigning champion, Rob Fellows, has led from the start. He wins the Goodyear Eagles as our mid-race leader. Nice run for Rob today.
But right now, Rob Fellows being reeled in a hurry by John Cadman as they move through turn 6 and out onto Rue de Cologne. Cadman is closing on Rob Fellows, who's really been running all by himself throughout this event, but now Cadman mounting a challenge, and he is bringing Peter Cohen along with him in car 46 as we take a look through the rundown. Ken Wilden back in 16th place here at the moment. Ronnie Schell running in 15th, and the rest of the running orders. So that incident between Spenard and Wilden ending what had been the marvelous run here by Kenny Wilden, as right now he runs well outside of the top 10.
Again, the rest of the field, we're just showing you. Jacques Lellievre, by the way, in that Napa Karcher entry, putting in a nice run, as is Didier SCHRAENEN, but this man has dominated today. Comes in, doesn't grab quite as much of that corner as John Cadman Jr. did earlier. Peter Cohen is the one really getting up a little tighter on that wall in corner 1. As long as he stays away from it, Pat, he'll be okay, and still pretty strong in 3rd spot.
Out of turn 3, they move on to Boulevard du Carmel, the fastest section of the racetrack here now, and Cadman got a good drive coming off of turn number 3. He'll try to chop into that lead of Rob Fellows just a little bit more. And again, now they'll be going from about 180 kilometers an hour down to 80, hard braking from 4th down to 2nd gear through turn 6. And Cadman continues to inch ever so closer to Rob Fellows, and now Fellows, who's had pretty much a run all by himself up front, is starting to see that black Motormaster Camaro in his mirrors as they work their way through DePaille corner and head down to the Ryan hairpin. That lead of Rob Fellows evaporating here in a big hurry.
Well, I'm wondering too, Rob sees traffic up ahead. We got the Paul MACKIE car just ahead of him here, the blue equipment. I think what he's doing now, Pat, really is responding to the attack by the Motormaster entry of John Cadman Jr. And I think Rob is pulling away a little bit more now. So maybe he's decided, oh, I've got to respond to this, and he's doing so.
Another driver staying right with the lead pace is Peter Cohen. And right now it's holding at about 8, 9, maybe 10 car lengths between the leader, number 1, Rob Fellows, in that yellow and blue Sunoco Ultra 94 car, and John Cadman in that black, red, and white Motormaster Camaro, as again they come off of turn 3. And here goes Fellows. He'll try to get around MACKIE on the straightaway as he tries to run him down. Cadman there, 71, parked right behind MACKIE. Very courteous here. He'll move out of the way, allow Fellows through as they clear off of turn 6. And now MACKIE sitting in between Fellows and Cadman. Again, he pulls over to the side and will allow Cadman to go through. So some very courteous driving there by Paul MACKIE as the 1st and 2nd place cars now have put him a lap down.
Well, Paul MACKIE doing the best that he could to stay out of the way. The fact is he had to come in there and be a little bit of the sandwich for just a moment or so. It held John Cadman Jr. up a little bit, Pat, but not enough that he's lost sight of our leader. Mind you, it may take a lap or so to regain the ground he's lost.
Rob Fellows out of turn 10. John Cadman still trying to chase him down, but Fellows has led here from the start.
20 laps to complete at Trois Rivieres. Here's the top 3, 15 to go. We'll be right back. Back on TSN to the 6th round of the Players Loaded GM Motorsports Series from Trois Rivieres, Quebec, the site of North America's oldest street race. It is jammed here this weekend. I don't think you can find a seat anywhere, Pat. And what a show this crowd are putting on for the spectators today.
Well, a great crowd. In fact, Jim, as you said, standing room only, pretty much. The grandstand's jam-packed, and they've seen a superb race so far. There's the white 50 car of Norman Boye. He runs in the 5th place position. And now we look at Peter Cohen going through the Duplessis Arch out onto the long straightaway. There is 17, Kenny Wilden. That incident with Spenard earlier forced him to the pits for a change of the front right tire. And that, of course, put him a lap down. He's running on the racetrack just behind Peter Cohen. And now we look a little bit further back. This is the battle for 6th. Number 2 there, Terry Betts, just ahead of Jacques Lelievre in the black and yellow number 4 car. And then Jeff Lapcevich in the red Tim Hortons Camaro. That is a great three-way fight going on for 6th, 7th, and 8th place positions. And there is 32, Jeff Lapcevich, who had that great run at Cayuga on the oval. Right now back in the 8th place position, but very much in this battle for 6th place through corner 6. It's still Betts holding on to that spot, followed by Jacques Lelievre, and then it is the red car there of Jeff Lapcevich, the Tim Hortons Mr. Lube Camaro.
Well, our 8th place Mr. Lube Camaro of Jeff Lapcevich is some very special sponsorship with Big Brothers. Both Jeff and Joe and the whole team involved in that cause.
Nick Javor, the president of Mr. Lube, is very much involved with Big Brothers. They gave them a cash donation of $50,000 when they started their relationship. And what we've done, we've had a couple of fundraisers where we had car washes, and we had the cars around the Big Brothers stores, and we had pairs of Big and Little Brothers out. You know, sold hot dogs and Pepsis for $1 kind of thing, and I think we raised about $10,000 for them at the last one, and it really helps out.
The drivers really love to share the joy of racing with younger fans and provide role models as well.
Their kids love seeing the cars. We take them for a ride whenever we get the opportunity to, and they just love it. They do come out to the races sometimes, and they do watch that. They have a great time sitting in the stands watching their car move through the pack. And, you know, it's great to see the look on the little kids' faces.
Joe does the West, his brother Jeff the East. Another team involved in the community, the Pringles team of Kenny Wilden.
My involvement with Young Drivers of Canada, I've had a strong belief that people should be taught how to drive properly first, and with the drinking and all drugs and everything that involves with, we wanted to try and take a message or show a message that we were one of the guys out there that cared about it. And so we had Molson take care on the car. David White, who I work with at Young Drivers of Canada, has felt very strong. He used to do a lot of talks to students, still does. We're involved with OSED, Ontario Students Against Impaired Driving, and that's been a great benefit. You know, we've had an opportunity to talk to a lot of kids. The race car is a nice hook. It gets the kids interested, it gets them involved and looking, and then they're going to listen to what you have to say, and that's really important. The kids won't listen to you if there's no kind of interest.
Racing with a message. It's become a worldwide thing in this sport, Pat, and we get back to this battle for 6th place on the streets of Trois Rivieres.
This is a superb three-way fight as they come out of the Ryan hairpin into Villeneuve corner now. Betts in the number 2 car holding on to that 6th place position. In the 7th place spot is the 4 car of Jacques Lelievre, and now Betts has opened up a pretty good advantage, and then it is Lapcevich in that red 32 car back in the 8th place spot. Jeff Lapcevich involved in that three-way fight going on for 6. Now we go back to the leader, Rob Fellows in car number 1. He has not been able to shake John Cadman. Cadman closed to within about 5 or 6 car lengths a few laps ago, and he is just sitting right there, closing ever so slightly from time to time. Rob Fellows then able to open back up some kind of an advantage, but now it is 46, Peter Cohen, who also starts to close, and here goes Cadman into the pits.
Yeah.
Cadman is headed for the pits.
Something's happened here. John Cadman has come in along pit row. Oh, look at this. We've got Tommy Meekum from ASN, the sanctioning body. That's a stop-and-go penalty, Pat. John Cadman, Jr. has done something wrong on the course.
Jim, we understand the problem was those cones in turn 10A where the drivers must stay off of the curbing and go through that turn 10A bend as they come onto the start-finish straightaway, and apparently number 71 Cadman clipped one of those cones and got the stop-and-go penalty. Now, all of a sudden, here is Peter Cohen. He has closed right up on Rob Fellows, and there is the 17 car of Kenny Wilden. He, of course, is running a lap down, so not in the hunt for the win here. And then right behind Kenny Wilden is the 42 car of Richard Spenard. Spenard running in the 3rd place position. Into turn 1, Rob Fellows, who's been running out in front and pretty much clear of traffic throughout this one, now being reeled in here by Peter Cohen, and this has been a marvelous run to the front by Cohen, who in the early going was back in about 7th place, but has slowly worked his way to the front and now right behind Rob Fellows as he really starts to put the pressure on. And I think this is the first time where Cohen has been able to get this close to the front and really put this kind of a pressure on Rob Fellows.
Well, that's a killer for John Cadman Jr. That stop-and-go penalty, almost as bad as a pit stop now. Look at this dramatic move. Cohen is going to go for the lead. He goes to the inside. Actually, Rob almost just let him by. Oh, maybe intending to sort of slingshot and grab the lead back, but Rob was not able to pull that off back.
Beautiful pass by Peter Cohen as he got him under braking going through turn 6. And it is Peter Cohen who now leads it here at Trois Rivieres.
30 laps down, 5 remain with a new race leader in Peter Cohen. Don't go away. Welcome back to Trois Rivieres, Quebec, and TSN's coverage of the Players Limited GM Motorsports Series, round 6, and what a battle.
This is the race for 6th involving Terry Betts in the yellow Sunoco Ultra 94 car as he holds that 6th place position. But challenging is 94 Didier SCHRAENEN, who has come all the way up into the 7th place position in car number 94.
And Didier SCHRAENEN, the subject of this week's profile. DJ is one of the series professionals, a semi-pro driver, but a professional radio and TV personality.
I don't think that they are very impressed about that because they are my fellows, you know. But what I like the most is when serious driver have difficulties maybe to pass me or something and say, oh, he's in top 10 now. A radio and a television announcer in front of me, oh, there's a problem. Maybe I think that what I appreciate the most is when drivers like Fellows, like Wilden or SPENARD are trying to say to themselves, uh-oh, there's a radio and television announcer in front of me. What's the problem? Maybe that he's getting fast or I'm getting slow, I don't know, but when they have a reaction like this, I like that a lot.
Well, DJ's busy schedule can be difficult on his family life, but his wife and the children usually try to show up at the different racetracks to cheer their man on.
Maybe I should put more energy in my family. Maybe I will do it sooner or later, but for sure, I'm very lucky to be with some people that understand my situation. I have to do it now, so I'll do it.
Whether working as a pit reporter or a driver, DJ always has fun. Enjoyment a key ingredient of DJ's life.
I think that's fun. It's the only thing in life, you know. If you don't have fun doing something, quit racing.
Another driver having a lot of fun today is our race leader right here, Peter Cohen, on his way to being the man to finally beat Kenny Wilden. Can he do it today, Pat?
Peter Cohen lapping the Sony MACKIE moving car there of Paul Duckworth. SPENARD now has moved up into the 2nd place position, getting around Rob Fellows as they accelerated out onto that straightaway, and sandwiched in between SPENARD and Fellows is Kenny Wilden, although he is running a lap down. Peter Cohen, your race leader. SPENARD holding on a 2nd. There goes Kenny Wilden motioning to Rob Fellows to go through on the inside, as Wilden showing a lot of driving courtesy there. He knows that Fellows is having a battle with SPENARD for 2nd, and he just moved out of the way and allowed, SPENARD almost off the racetrack, just about smacked the end of that concrete wall, but was able to get it back onto the racetrack. Peter Cohen, your leader. SPENARD all over the racetrack trying to run down Cohen in that blue and orange 46 car as they come out of turn number 10, heading back to the start-finish line. There's the checkered flag. Peter Cohen wins it. SPENARD in 2nd. Fellows will finish 3rd, and what a marvelous, big spin in turn 1, Jim.
He sponsors the entire Montreal muffin-making crowd from Cuisine Nature. Must be gathered here in corner 1, Pat. Look at him showing off. He has got to be ecstatic. This young man, under-financed in his effort, one of the real loners on his own in this series, and yet look how well he's done today. Here's our top 5 at Trois Rivieres. Here's the top 10.
Well, it's simple. He was behind me, just re-ended me on the braking. Once I lost it after he bumped me. Obviously, we got together, but it started when you just re-end me cleanly, you know. So, I mean, we touched in the corner side by side. it happens, but you re-end someone, you know the guy in front of you will lose control, and that's not fair play, so I just didn't appreciate it.
There is the race winner at Trois Rivieres. Well, you think he'd get excited, wouldn't you?
The official stuff. Take that one out.
Be sure to join us on TSN next time for round 7 from the Oval in Calgary.
My strategy really was to wait until the leaders made a mistake. I found Kenny and Richard really battling it out, so I just bide my time, and I was watching the brakes, watching the temperature of the engine, and really just trying to wait until everybody made a mistake. But I found out towards the end of the race that the car was really fast. I had saved it enough that, you know, nothing could stop me.
Motorsports. Dans quelques instants, vous assisterez à la course SO Protect.
What a turnaround of the Players Limited GM Motorsports Series at Trois Rivieres. There they are, the race champions. I'm Jim Paulson for Pat Gonzalez and Pierre Hood saying farewell from Trois Rivieres. The Players Limited GM Motorsports Series on TSN. Brought to you by GM Motorsports and Players Limited.